Hey, it's Jason Hennessy from Everspark Interactive. With me is my partner, Chris Watson.
Hey, everybody.
Today is December 1st, one more month away from the new year. Now, what we want to talk about today is something that came out. It was a major announcement that came out, and this right here was posted onto the Google blog at about 9:30 this morning. Oftentimes when Google comes out with an algorithmic update, we don't really get warnings as webmasters and search engine optimization experts. They just hit us. For instance, last February, they came out with a major algorithmic update called Panda, right? And a lot of SEOs and webmasters were left scrambling because they've had to change and tweak their site and their strategy and stuff like this. But over the past year, they've done a lot better job at actually kind of forewarning us about changes.
Yeah, I think that, when Panda hit, it was probably the biggest thing to happen in SEO in the last 2 or 3 years.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing that we say a lot around here is that we like Panda a lot because it from our perspective, it thinned out the herd from SEO experts of people. If you really kept up with Panda, one of the things you started realizing about it was that it made it a lot harder to rank things. It used to be kind of an easy game, and it became a lot more complicated. But if you really studied it, and Google kind of held everyone's hand a little bit, and this is another example of them coming out with saying, "Hey, we're just about to make these changes, and this is what it means." So, yeah, the Panda update, whilst it was significant, I think it was also a turning point for Google in terms of the people who are listening and really paying attention are going to get the upper hand on their competition.
I totally agree with it. So, you know, I'm not going to go through all of this. If you would like to see this, there will be a link at the bottom of this blog post, or if you're watching it on YouTube, there will also be a link there. But a couple of things that kind of really strike my eye when just kind of glancing at this. One of the updates that they say is that they're going to have a more comprehensive indexing. So what that means is they're going to be tuning in more on the long tail of search.
Yep.
So when they originally rolled out the Panda update, a lot of the long tail stuff kind of got a little bit shifted around. And a lot of the SEOs that were kind of studying the algorithm at that time were kind of left saying, what about the long tail? What about the long tail? You know, is long tail dead? You know, you see infographics about the long tail and stuff like that. I think Aaron Wall just recently posted an infographic specifically about the long tail, I believe just yesterday.
Yep.
So this is perfect timing. So I think having said that, I think that what they're saying is that the long tail is in fact not dead. So you just kind of pay close attention to the keywords that you're going to be optimizing for. I think there's a lot more keyword research tools that are available on the market now. Pay close attention to the keywords and then make sure that you build your pages accordingly with the keywords that you're going to target in mind, and make sure that you practice perfect SEO strategy. Yep.
Yeah, and one of the things I'm reading into that specific update is, and I don't know if this is true or not, but there's a thing in SEO called latent semantic indexing. It's been around for a long time, and it's sort of a gray area. Some people refute it, some people have proven it beyond a shadow of a doubt, but if this is, what I'm reading here is that they're going to pay more attention to the specific nature of the long tail. Right, so if you use unique keywords and it's a specific product or a specific thing that you're actually trying to rank for, it's going to pay attention to that and what happened before and still happening today. And latent semantic indexing still could be around and alive and well for the next 10 years. I don't know, but if this is true to its mandate, I think what they're saying here is that they're going to be very specific about the individual pages and what's within those pages and, and what that specific keyword is, as opposed to a grouping of keywords, if you will.
Got it, yep. So at the end result of that, when you start to look at your analytics and you're looking at all of the different keywords that you rank for, because 80% of your traffic comes from the long tail. You know, and I think more of your traffic is going to start to come from the long tail after this update. So you'll notice this a lot in your analytics. You'll be seeing a lot more ones and twos as far as unique visitors from certain keywords in your analytics.
Right, but now you can't just limp into it. You got to want it.
That's it.
You got to go for it. Right.
So content is king. It's always been king. And there's also another area of this update, original content. We've added a new signal to help us make better predictions on what two similar pages are, I guess, which the original of two similar pages.
Yeah.
Because there's been so many tools built where SEOs try to manipulate the system and they scrape content and then they kind of just reshuffle it around and it just doesn't look right at all. However, sometimes that could actually hurt the person that originally wrote that content, depending on the link, the authority of the website that scraped it, so on and so forth.
Right.
So I think they're putting some kind of blockers in here so that you don't necessarily get hurt. So just continue to follow white hat strategies, write only unique content, and this will kind of restrict the spammers from stealing your content and actually outranking you with your content.
Yep.
Other things.
Well, I also think that point kind of bleeds into another one of the points here that they're updating, which they're addressing blogs, and they've always addressed blogs. In fact, I was on a forum not that long ago, a few weeks ago, where I was challenging someone who said, "Whatever you do, take your blog off of your site." I don't know if you saw me go head to head with this guy, but his point was, I understood what he was talking about from a conversion perspective, but he was talking about ranking. He was talking about SEO, and he was saying the blog should live separately. Anyway, the blog should, as far as we're concerned, it should live on your site.
That's right.
And to the content point, they're now saying they're going to be paying more attention to blogs, right? So they're really indexing them. I don't know if it means they're going to be indexing them more widely or faster, but it seems that the content mandate here is really significant when it comes to blog. So if you don't currently blog, absolutely blog, and if you don't have that blog on your site, we've always said it, make sure the blog's on your site.
That's right. With that in mind too, make sure that it's saying that they're looking for more frequency. So they want to see you blogging on a regular basis. Now this has always been the case, but according to this blog post, it seems like they're going to be taking that a little bit much more seriously.
Yep.
Other things too, park domains. You ever doing search results and you're doing a search and all of a sudden you click on a result and what shows up? Like a GoDaddy parked page, right?
Yeah.
That can get frustrating. According to this, it looks like they have finally figured that out and you're not going to be seeing parked domains within the SERPs anymore. So I think that is something that is good. Talks about if there's any Major League Soccer or Canadian football fans out there, I guess they're going to be updating the way that they index the scores, schedules of these leagues. So I guess they never took soccer and Canadian football seriously. I mean,
But that has to do with the live thing.
Freshness,
the fresh update that they did, which is really quite brilliant. The more you dig into it, it means that because search engine optimization gets confused when you start talking about definitions, right? So if the Super Bowl is going on and you type in Super Bowl, should you be getting the Super Bowl score or should you be getting Wikipedia? There's a good chance that because it's happening now, and this is
fresh.
one example,
That's right.
It has to be the new stuff, and they're going to make the jump to or the assumption
do the same thing.
that kind of thinking is going to go into all of their
into soccer and all of the other sports. Yep. Especially like when Olympics and stuff comes around, like you start doing searches for Olympics, you don't want to see the history of the Olympics, you want to see actually what's happening in the Olympics.
And keep in mind that the original Panda update was about, it wasn't purely about it, but a lot of it had to do with content farms.
That's right.
Right. So this is continuing that concept whereby they're saying, okay, if you've just staffed out and you have 100 people writing stuff because you know that stuff, people search for it, it has to be new, fresh content. And you can still get away with that, I suppose, if you have 100 people writing it, but it goes along what they're trying to do with the overall Panda update to say that it's about relevancy.
That's right.
So it's not necessarily you now have 10,000 pages about XYZ product. Okay, that's great, but if that content is seen to be very shallow, which is the original thing about Panda, they're going to get right past that and get to the real fresh stuff that people really want to find.
Yep. And then another thing too, I use this a lot for like when they rolled out Google Instant, and for those of you that don't know what Google Instant is, it's where you start to go to Google and you start to type something like THE, and it starts to predict what you mean and what you're actually searching for. And oftentimes they're trying to predict you to bring you to a page where they have a lot of advertisers where people are actually paying for those those keywords. But what it says here, they're going to be doing more autocomplete predictions. So what that means is sometimes when I do those predictions and I start to type, I mean, this is probably one of the best keyword research tools that's even on the market. Because just think about it, if you are maybe an attorney in California and you type in ATTOR and you start to spell it out in California, it's going to list out, what people are searching for. It's going to list out where Google is going to try to bring your audience to what keywords they're going to try to bring them to. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely recommend you kind of keep this in mind. Just play around with that. Just go to Google and start typing in things that you may think are relevant to your business, and just take a note, of all of the predictions that Google is making, because that's probably where your users are going to end up. Because if Google's predicting it, they're going to stop typing and they're just going to automatically look below the search bar and see the content. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Strategically, I don't know what that shift does from a...
I think they're just adding more. There's more volume, so you're going to see, again, with the long tail, you're going to start to see more of the long tail predictions.
Right.
So I think that's what it is. But again, you can see the entire post. It was dated today, so it's fresh. It'll be on our site today, and we'll keep you in check with everything that's happening within Google.
Yeah, they're making these updates once a month now, it would appear. So we'll do another one in a month's time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching.